Let's go to ringside. You see there currently in the ring making his showing here at IWA, Homicide in the ring. He's taking on Chicano. And boy, we've been looking forward to this show for so long. You can see there the fans, 30,000 strong here. Every time we come to these huge baseball stadiums,
that's right.
You just got to step it up a notch. Now, it's been raining here earlier today, but you and I, when we arrived at the arena, it was pouring down rain. Luckily, the weather's cleared, but we do have a lot of wetness out there that may play a part. And speaking of playing a part, Homicide comes to play his, and we're going to get underway right away here.
I got to tell you that wetness might play a part in this match, but I get the feeling a lot of different weapons are also going to play a part.
Well, speaking of weapons, this is a hardcore match. Chicano taking on Homicide, and I'll tell you what, Homicide, the fans have been clamoring to see him. They're glad to see him make his appearance here in the International Wrestling Association.
That is certainly right here as Chicano takes Homicide close to the crowd, banging his face up against those posts.
Well, it's well documented. Homicide all around the world doing what he can do best. But, of course, Chicano is really showing something here, and that's just right onto the turf here at our baseball stadium here at IWA. And now, what does he have there?
It's some sort of, wow.
Well, it hurt, I'm sure, whatever it was.
Metal shelving looks like.
It's some kind of, is it a ventilation system of some sort? Well, they're all over the place. This one hasn't even made its way to the ring, and I'll tell you what, we're set up for lighting rigs. We've set up things for other matches. There's more weapons. There's more plunder than in regular cases here. This may be a little bit more dangerous. And look at this, into the wall.
There certainly is, into that wall there. Not much padding, pretty thin, as Chicano works his way back. Looks like he's running back to the ring as a dazed Homicide stands over there. Jeremy, looks like he's grabbing a table.
Well, he's going for a table, perfectly legal in this match. Referee checking in on Homicide, and we're gonna do some furniture rearranging here. As you see, we're over in front of one of the dugouts. And now Homicide.
He's setting up there, Jeremy, kind of by the dugouts here at the stadium. I'm not sure what kind of idea he has.
Well, where is Chicano going? Well, he's got to go collect an opponent. A lot of ground to cover in these big stadium shows like this.
Certainly are. Great seats, definitely plenty of seating here in this arena here as Homicide goes on the offense.
Well, that's the amazing thing, all these seats all the way around the stadium, and yet we're still packing the place, again, over 30,000 strong, and it just gives us a different feel. You can feel the electricity in the air here, and especially considering that later on tonight, we're going to get the match we have waited for quite some time. No El Profe, special guest referee in Invader 1. Ray Gonzalez takes on Shane.
Yes, that's going to be a tremendous matchup here as well. I think there's also some tag team action coming up here later on in the evening.
That's right, the action continues hot and heavy, but right now Homicide and Chicano, they continue their action. Hardcore match that we haven't even seen in the ring at all. Is Chicano leaving?
I think
Chicano's escaping. He's
somebody offered a pool cue? Is that a pool cue?
Imagine if that had connected. They're going out into the crowd, Bowie.
That's right. They are out into the crowd, Jeremy. They're right above that dugout.
Table. Somebody may be getting some splinters here in a moment.
That's right. They're set up several feet above. Wait a second.
Oh, goodness. This is exactly what Chicano had planned all along.
Chicano wants to
power bomb him through, but he's not quite able. It's so early in the match to be able to do something like that. Homicide able to power his way out of it. Maybe a little too early to be setting up such a powerful move.
Yeah, you definitely want to wear Homicide down if you're going to try and pull something like that off.
Oh, and it's going to backfire completely. Oh, goodness.
Chicano just flew off the top.
Right off the top of the dugouts here at this arena. Homicide modeling for the crowd here. People letting him know what they think. Chicano, one of their favorites. I think they were excited to see Homicide. We love having these international stars coming to the IWA, but I don't think Homicide is one of the fans' favorites here right now.
Well, I got to tell you,
Chicano being checked on by an official.
Got to tell you, Jeremy, I thought I was about to be witness to a Homicide there, as Chicano went flying off the top and through the table.
There's
and
that
now hit with a cane.
Talk about splinters, getting that one just splinters right across his head. And now, using it as a blade of some sort almost.
Oh no, that's going to be splinters. He's putting it between the headgear there.
And that's the exposed part that was cut, my God.
He's running it back and forth. like a violin, playing a violin with Chicano's head there.
Well, Chicano certainly had free reign here early in the match. His big mistake, I think he went for that powerbomb a little too early. Homicide had way too much in the tank for that, and it backfired in a big way as Homicide now grabbing Chicano, makes his way, well, they're headed back toward the ring. Little standing hip toss there. Again, nothing but hard turf to hit. And now we're going over, we've got, again, we talk about in these stadium shows, it takes a lot more on the production end. He's got a safety cone that I don't think he's going to be very safe with.
No, hitting Chicano on the shoulder.
Moving large again.
And now Homicide going to rearrange his shirt here as he goes for a lid. It looks like a iron lid, but wait a second, blocked it.
Chicano able to catch that one out of midair, turns it around on Homicide. And now where are we headed?
We're headed to that truck, Jeremy.
You gotta believe we're headed to the truck, and so of course we're going to a truck. Of course. If it's in this arena, it is in play here in Carolina, Puerto Rico, as Homicide and Chicano head to the top of the truck now.
Big punches to the head. He's flying right down onto the metal bed of this large, looks like a crane. But Homicide going low on Chicano.
And I'll tell you what, Bouyabar, I'm not sure how DDT into that metal truck, able to get an arm down somewhat, but he still took a lot of punishment there. I'm not quite sure how you trained for a match like this. We work out in the ring, but you train inside of the squared circle. I don't recall any training sessions that involve trucks, steel lids, and pool cues.
You're certainly right there, Jeremy Sage. This is a wild match between two wild men. And I get the feeling, though, that these men have plenty of experience in any sort of street fight just like this, because that's basically what this has come down to. It's a big street fight, Jeremy.
Well, absolutely, and it's going on right now as they go into that hydraulic lift. Again, forget having knowledge of wrestling moves, Boo. You and I are going to need to have knowledge of crane operation at this point to call this match. And we're going up on top of the crane.
This is dangerous, Jeremy Sage. I'm not sure what Chicano has in mind here.
Well, the higher they go, the harder it will hurt when one of them falls, and that seems to be the goal. Right now, Chicano in charge, but Homicide able to fire back. Well, look at this.
Bouncing his head off that crane there.
About to try to toss him off, trying to toss Homicide off the side.
Homicide, fortunately, slips down, falls on that pallet, Jeremy Sage.
He caught his chin. You saw his chin bust right across that wooden pallet. Referee down, Chicano, where's he going?
Chicano's going to want to fly here, Jeremy. There he goes. He loves that senton splash.
And he hits it off the back of that big crane truck.
We are back, IWA action, bringing you a hardcore match here in a baseball stadium.
Well, I'll tell you what, Bouyabar, typically I love mud wrestling, but this isn't quite what I love about it. But we're getting a little mud involved here. Homicide and Chicano live here in Carolina, Puerto Rico. Unbelievable action here in this stadium. We talked about it earlier, 30,000 strong. And now we're going into that strong crowd.
Into the strong crowd. Chicano hits Homicide another time with an umbrella.
He just picked up somebody's umbrella.
Well, somebody's not going to have any coverage going home there, I got to tell you, if it starts raining again here in the island of Puerto Rico. But Homicide now coming back against Chicano, throwing him once again into the steel railings.
Well, I'll tell you what, at this point, we could just make a list of weaponry used in this one.
It has been crazy so far, Jeremy Sage. And anything big, once again, flipping him back into the mud, Jeremy.
Well, right down, it looks like the third base line here. Chicano having been dumped in the mud, and I don't know, is Homicide wanting to avoid getting dirty, perhaps? Mud to the face! Mud to the face
Mud
for
to the
Chicano,
face.
wise use. You know, we talk about ring presence. How about baseball stadium presence? Because Chicano showed a good use of it right there.
That is right there. Homicide blocking it. And I guess Chicano slides into third base. Chicano's safe.
He was totally in there. He got
wait a second. Referee anarchy thrown into the mud. You know, I kind of don't mind seeing that.
I'll tell you what.
Oh, wait, is that anarchy? That's not anarchy. I'm sorry. That's another referee that just slid into third.
I'll tell you what, boy, we said we love these stadium shows. You never quite know what you're going to get. And there's another example. We're getting some mud wrestling in here. We went up on top of a crane. We've been on top of dugouts. And now for the first time, hey, look, there is a ring.
There certainly is a ring here tonight. And Homicide grabbing once again that metal lid. crashing it across the back of Chicano.
Well, that metal lid came off of one of our production drums. Chicano in a lot of trouble here. Homicide has been in control for quite some time now. Took the better part of the mud section of this match. You think they planned for that? Do you think that's a part of the strategy? Well, when I get my opponent to the mud.
That's a very good question here, Jeremy Sage. Is another strike to the head of Chicano with that metal lid, production lid.
Well, right now, Homicide perhaps looking for a little bit more to use. Chicano looking under the ring here. A lot of separation between these two athletes. Not quite sure where we're headed right now.
Certainly not, but it looks like Homicide pulling out a table there. Yet another table making an appearance here. Is he wanting to look like he's wanting to put it there in the ring there as he comes back to Chicano to attack him once again with that metal lid.
Right across the shoulder blades, the middle of the back there. Seems like a street sign there. Table looming large in the ring. This match still has yet to make its way to the ring.
It has not spent very much time in there. This whole stadium has been utilized for this hardcore match. Homicide and Chicano. That is a street sign.
Well, Highway 8 just showing him directions there as he sets the table up. Not quite sure where he's headed with that. We've seen one table destroyed, and well, the legs come out from under there. Homicide not happy about that. Perhaps going to take his anger out on Chicano.
He might do that right now. He's going to set up this table, though. A little improvisation. Never thought I'd compare a hardcore wrestler to a jazz musician as Chicano hits him over the head, and now, wait a second, he's setting up Homicide on that table, Jeremy.
Where's he headed here? Chicano heading up top. Homicide was the one that had so much trouble getting the table set up, but now he's the one lying in harm's way.
He certainly is.
Are you kidding me?
Chicano is setting this up. He loves that senton.
Oh my! Senton off the top through the table. Homicide clutching his ribs in pain. We're gonna get our first pinfall of the night.
This is the first attempt, Jeremy.
No! A 2 count. That is Homicide kicking. I don't know what you can do from there.
That is tough. This man, Homicide, not only is a sadistic animal, but this guy is tough as nails, Jeremy. Wait a second. Pile driver on that street sign.
Wow. Pile driver right on top of that metal sign. Is that going to be enough? 1, 2. That's it.
That is it, Jeremy.
A match that never made its way into the ring. A hardcore match. Our first here this week on IWA. And Chicano takes out Homicide.